Pittsburgh Steelers fans, what is up? It is time once again for another episode of the Steel Curtain Network Q&A. My name is Bryan Anthony Davis, in for Jeremy Betts as we go ahead and get ready for the start of Week 13 for your black and gold Pittsburgh Steelers. And hey, you know what this show means. This show means that it's your show. You make the content. So I need comments from you. I need you to go ahead and give me all of the categories that we're going to talk about this evening, and I am glad to do it. I hope everybody had a happy Thanksgiving. I got to tell you, mine was fantastic, especially after number 2 and number 3 of the slate of games. Actually, I didn't even mind the first one. I was fine with Green Bay winning. But when number 2 came around, let me talk about Green Bay winning for a second. That means that the Steelers did play a very tough team, and it means that, like the Bills, who's coming up this weekend, Detroit is very mortal. So that's something to think about here as the Steelers do get up for games against teams that they're not supposed to beat, which is inexplicable to me. And they kind of falter against the other teams. We found out that the Bears are actually a lot better than we thought they were. They're starting to play some good teams. They beat Philadelphia on Friday. So I was happy with a lot of the early outcomes. But when I'm talking about game number 2, seeing Kansas City be 6-6 and temporarily have a worse record than the Steelers, and the same thing with the Baltimore Ravens going down and having that winning streak snapped, felt pretty good too, because that was a pretty epic win streak that they were on. Now they are 6-6. Steelers are temporarily number 1 in the division again, but what does that really mean? They've got to beat Buffalo to go ahead and prove that they're that roller coaster team. Basically, that's the best way to say it. But I still believe the Colts are a good team, and they beat them, and they're still a very good team. So we're looking at everything here. I'm seeing right away. I'm seeing some people in the live chat saying hello, and it is so great to see everybody in here. Noah Colback, he has a comment here. Is Broderick now out for the rest of the season since he's now on IR? I don't believe he is. You have to be on IR for 4 weeks. And if I am mistaken, that means that he can be back. Well, gosh, there's 7 games to play. No, 6 games to play, excuse me, because they are 6-5. So that means that he's back for the 2 divisional games at the end. But how bad is that injury? And that's the big question. Broderick Jones is very important. I do like Andrus Peat. I'm fine with him coming in there, but he is not going to be as good as Broderick Jones was. And I know some of you are thinking, oh man, Broderick Jones wasn't that good, bad. But, I get it. But that's the thing. That's the thing that we're looking at here. Steel Dog 8883 or 8883 says he's out till week 17. And so, yep, that's it. That's what I was talking about there when I'm talking about Cleveland and Baltimore. So, yeah, we will go ahead and see him again possibly then, but it's not like before where those guys go on IR, they're gone for the season, and I'm really happy about that. So I hope that he goes ahead and gets better. I want to talk about a few things here as you need to load me up with questions. I'm definitely asking you to go ahead and do that. Please do. But again, once again, I hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving. I hope it was with friends. I hope it was with family. I hope it was everything you needed it to be. I hope you got a break. And if you did work hard, well, I am going to say to you, thank you for being wherever you were working. Thank you so much, whether you're working at the hospital or the urgent care or the ER, or whether you're working at Sheets or Wawa or something like that, whether you're working Black Friday. Do you believe that I let my daughter con me in to Black Friday shopping? We were at Target in line at 3:09 a.m. in the morning. Then I got there. We didn't win the prizes, but we were the first ones in line. And I had my Steeler chair there. I was first in line. And everybody was making comments about my Steelers chair and my Steeler hat. But, the funny thing is, I got in there. My daughter says, "All right, what are we getting?" I'm like, I don't even know. But it was just a part of the chase. It's that competitive nature. And that's exactly what we did. And as soon as we got in line, everybody else got out of their warm cars. So we did go ahead and start the trend. And then after almost 3 hours sitting, I was like, oh my gosh, it's cold. Black Friday, Steel Dog is definitely still a thing. Now, the guy at Target where I live said last year they only had 30 people and they had 100 plus in line at 4 a.m. to go in at 6. They actually have to ramp it up, and they do all these giveaways now than they never did before because more people are shopping online. But yeah, I mean, I just did it. And the reason I did it was just because I thought it would be bonding, and we had a good time. We definitely bonded. I think we talked about the season premiere of the finale of Stranger Things most of the time. And then I made a buddy in line and talked sports half the time to him. So here we go. Let's go ahead and get some of these questions. Bad says at SteelDog8883. What do you think Steelers will have to do to win this game? Wow. So many things. But the first thing that I think of when I talk about the Steelers and winning this game, it's first of all, play smart and eliminate those dumb penalties and dumb mistakes. It seems like they're still doing way too much of that. They should have tied that game at least. I'm not saying they would have won it. They should have tied that game. I think if they had that huge scramble back and were able to not lose that from Mason Rudolph, great job with him in his wheels, then that's a big deal. And what frustrates me most about that penalty, that should be never an issue. I get a legal procedure sometimes, not very often, but I get it when you're trying to cross some people up and you have some motion and not everybody's set. That shouldn't happen either, but I understand that. But not covering up your tackle. Calvin Austin, you've been there 4 years now. Jonnu Smith, you should know too. So it's just one of those things where that's the dumb stuff that made them lose that game. Some people want to call it coaching. Yeah, that should be gone over and practiced over and over. But those players should know it too. So, yeah, what do they have to do to win this game? They just have to play a smart game. Buffalo, I hate the fact that Buffalo's coming off a couple losses in a row. I like that this is at home. They would have no chance if this was in Buffalo. I will tell you that right now. But I think it's a better sign that they're going to be at home. And I will say this. If they can get the running game going, and try to find a way to get other people open so you're not blanketing DK Metcalf. I know a lot of people think that DK Metcalf is a disappointment. I really think that the scheme is letting them down. And I think that's a big part of it. I don't think that it's all Arthur Smith's problems, because Arthur Smith did the right thing by trying to get a simplistic, and that's what I said going into the game. You got to be simplistic with this offense. It's going to work better. And that's what worked to help them win that game just 2 weeks ago against Cincinnati when Rodgers went out. But he tried to do a simplistic game plan, but he ignored the middle of the field where Chicago was most vulnerable. And that's what drives me absolutely crazy. Oh, I cannot fathom that. So yeah, that's the kind of stuff they need to do. This Buffalo team is beat up too. So anything can happen, but you also have to shadow. You have to find a way to know where Josh Allen is at all times. And I'm telling you, it's no different than playing Lamar Jackson. Seriously. When you're preparing for Buffalo, you're preparing for a Lamar type player. Now, is Josh Allen as fast? No. Is he as electric? No. But he knows how to make things happen. And you let him run, he's going to get first down after first down after first down. Peyton Wilson, baby, it's you. This is your game. So here we go. I want to go ahead and look at a few things. The Steel Dog says, he's talking more about the Black Friday thing. The bonding aspect is the difference for sure. Yeah, it was worth me being up early just so we could bond. I do sports stuff with my son now. We do bonding. I'm actually bonding, believe it or not. My daughter is so into Penn State football. So I bond with her over that. I still root for Pitt. I'm a graduate. But, we got to do different things. And man, she's 16. My son's 18. Pretty soon it's cats in the cradle time where I'm calling them up. Hey, want to hang out? They're like, hey, I'm busy at work. Kids got the flu, but it's sure nice talking to you, Dad. And I'm lucky. I still get to bond with my dad. I am so blessed. That is, when I'm looking across the table with Dad on Thanksgiving Day, my mom, my family, my nephew, my sister and her husband, nephews, excuse me, my own kids, my own family, I know how blessed I am. And I know that could change on a dime. So yeah, I definitely glad to do it. We have bonded, the whole family, me and the kids, just in the last year have bonded over the Steelers. And believe it or not, getting my son into fantasy football was so awesome. And I didn't think it would be. I mean, he said, yeah, I want to play. He studies everything. And he knows about everybody in the league right now. And I could talk. He'll call me up and say, hey, you hear the Giants fired Brian Daboll. And I'm like, wow, I didn't hear that yet. I actually did. I lied to him, but so let's keep on going. I got to say this, Kathy, thank you for saying Dad of the Year. No, it's just, I'm blessed and what would have I done? Get some extra Z's? I came home, I passed out. I will say that. My daughter does enjoy shopping with my wife more than me because I'm like clueless. I think I stress her out. But anyways, we got some stuff done. It was fun. So I want to bring this up too. I love it. It's just a comment just about tonight. Afton said it's Batter Day night. You know what? This is a new thing for me, being on Batter Day. I love it. All right. We have so much to talk about. I'm going to sift through some questions. We are going to go ahead and take a quick break. So please stick around. We're going to be right back after this. If it's on audio, just listen to the commercials. You guys just pause a second, big sigh, whatever you need to do, stretch, and we will be back right after this. And thank you so much, because this is the Q&A. My name is Bryan Anthony Davis, and this is the Fans First Sports Network's Steel Curtain Network. All right, we are back. It is the Steel Curtain Network's Q&A. I am the BAD, and yes, thanks to Afton, it is absolutely what we call Batter Day. I've never called it that before, but I think I like to. Let's go ahead and look at some more things here today. I will say that, well, I was talking about my daughter liking Penn State, and that's fun for me. I mean, I'm enjoying that. But now I'm dealing with my son, and it is because we lost a close friend that was so close to family at only 41 years old this year. Cancer is a terrible thing. Diehard Ohio State fan, and she got my son into Ohio State. So I actually have to root for Ohio State. I know Betts is smiling, but I have to go ahead and root for them for that purpose. And it's really weird. It's a hard thing to do. So there you go. I hope none of my friends that are Ravens fans pass away. I'm still not rooting for them. I will root for their memory and root for everything. I'll root for the Orioles for them, but not the Ravens. That was such a callous thing to say. Let's go ahead and look at some other things here. Great one, 0389. And great one. That reminds me of The Rock. And in the background, I'm watching Survivor Series. I'm actually talking to you guys instead of paying attention to wrestling. So I'm less dorky right now because I'm talking to you guys. For what it's worth, the Bears winning yesterday probably made us look better. Yeah, they're a better team than I thought. I love watching Philly lose. The only time I root for Philly is I root for Philly in Super Bowls because they're playing New England or they're playing Kansas City, So I've got to root for them there. I haven't rooted for them when they played against the Raiders back in Super Bowl 15. Believe it or not, I'm not a Raiders fan like everybody thinks I am. I'm absolutely not. Matt Cat, 49. This is the most of NFL is Jekyll and Hyde in 25 because Eric Weidman, 3806, said Buffalo is a Jekyll and Hyde team. Yeah, the Steelers are very Jekyll and Hyde as well. But now we're finding out that the Eagles are and the Kansas City Chiefs are. It's really interesting. So I got to tell you this. The same things that we are talking about as Pittsburgh fans, Kansas City, Buffalo, there's a lot of frustration out there. Philadelphia, oh my gosh, Philadelphia's going crazy right now, and their record's still pretty good. That's it. I mean, parity is running wild. To see Jacksonville, and I like Jacksonville. I've covered a lot of their stuff. I've produced a lot of their stuff. But for Jacksonville to be better than the Steelers right now, it's crazy. And they're going to win again this weekend probably because they're playing Tennessee, but not so fast because we saw some crazy upsets last week. So there you go. Let's go ahead and look at some more here. This is not a question, but I'm very flattered. Bad, the most underrated SCN member. Your Steelers knowledge is so impressive. Would love to watch the Steelers game with you. Ray Clodapino, MU7MF. I tell you what, I'm not sure where you live, but I'm not going to say that's out of the question. Hit me up. Let me know where you live, and you never know. I'm blessed to every once in a while, and I'm nobody in this world, and I know that. But every once in a while, I'm out to eat, and somebody comes up to me, and it just happened a month ago at Cracker Barrel. And somebody came up to me and said, "Hey, you're Bryan, right?" And I said, "Yeah." And I thought he was somebody I knew from high school because he looked familiar. He wasn't. I said, "Yeah, I know who you are." He goes, "No, you don't." Because I watch on YouTube. And I'm like, "Really? Wow." And so it's somebody in the town that I live in now. And I'm like, "Hey, here's my number. Let's watch a game together." I would love that. I would love to watch a game with Ray and anybody else here on the live chat that doesn't want to hurt me. There's a few people on the live chat that probably want to hurt me because I'm a pain in their butt. I know there's a few that don't like me. Here's one that I know loves me. This is my buddy. Everybody's my buddy, but Brian Brown's been around a long time. I got to ask you, Brian. I got to ask you this. I know you hate Cincinnati so much, but you had to be rooting for him the other night. You had to have been rooting for Burrow and all those guys, and I know that kills you to do so, just like Marky D. But they had to beat the Ravens, and they did. Gosh, I have a hard time rooting for them, but that was a lot of fun. Are the Steelers defense going to show up? Here's the thing about that. I think injuries keep hurting them. Losing Highsmith in the last game hurt them, but that meant that Nick Herbig gets to show up more. I'd like to see them have both of them in there and be able to, plug and play and move around and do so many different things. But I think this defense is better. And I'm telling you what, I think Asante Samuel is going to play a quick dividend. Pay a quick dividend. I don't know how you play dividends, but I think that's going to help this team. Just like, my gosh, Kyle Duggar came in, and that was a guy that was cut too. And you got to understand with Samuel, he's only been in the league 4 or 5 years, and he's been hurt. So there's not rust on. I mean, there might be rust, but there's not wear and tear on this guy. He just is like anybody, suffers injuries. And I'm one of those guys that I really don't want to label a guy as injury prone, because it's not your body that's letting you down when one of your teammates lands on you or you get hit into next week. My gosh, I'd be in a coma if I got hit the way some of these guys get lit up. What Jalen Ramsey did to Jamar Chase, how Jamar Chase got up after he cracked him, and it was legal. But he knocked him. He would have knocked me into the next century. It'd be like Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. I would just wake up and they'd be like, "Hey, you're bad. My great-great-grandfather watched you, Jeff, and Dave watching the Steelers." And then it would be like the 22nd century. And they'd be saying, "Hey, are the Steelers going to fire Mike Tomlin?" That's probably going to happen. I would be asked that question. Or Mike Tomlin Jr. I don't know. Matt Cat, 9 years of good play, tough to swallow when it's lost. Yeah, I get it. I definitely get that, and that makes a lot of sense, because here's the thing. We are, and I know you hate it when I say it, but we're spoiled, because when you watch something that good for all those years, it makes you feel like you expect it. We're looking at 6-5 as 2-13. Well, what are the Raiders now? 2-9. And it's killing those Raiders fans. It's killing fans like that. Raiders fans would kill for 6-5 right now. Absolutely would. So that's something to know. Afton says Buffalo's more bad winter weather experience. And maybe that's why they do so well, but they did lose in Buffalo recently. I still definitely do not want to go there, though. Eric, I'm in Iowa. We have 12 inches of snow. It's still snowing. My gosh. The Steelers escaped Chicago because Chicago's supposed to be getting pelted right now. I think that's what was I watching where somebody was mentioning Chicago? Yeah, Chicago is getting absolutely crushed. Last Sunday night, says Brian Brown, it was over. Now everybody's talking about the Steelers can win the division. What gives? Joe Burrow says the Bengals are coming. I say Joe Burrow can kiss it, and he always says Joe Burrow can kiss it. I love that. But here's the thing about that. We are going to keep saying that because something happens and the Ravens lay an egg. My gosh, if Shedeur Sanders could have played competent football against the Ravens, the Browns beat the Ravens in Cleveland. They absolutely do. What makes that so amazing was the fact Joe Burrow was not having a great game. In fact, they were stalling like crazy when your first 4 scores are all field goals. They're just stalling. And then they finally got in the end zone. Then they got all those turnovers. They forced the turnovers. A bad defense forced some turnovers. That's good to see. Joseph Osai. I hope I'm saying it right. I'm trying to remember that. I believe it's Osai. Had a great game on defense. This is a team that, Joe can say they're coming, but you've got this many losses right now. I don't see them winning the division. I really don't. Let's go ahead. Big E Bronco. One of my buddies. I like Big E Bronco. Just I don't like talking about Russell Wilson with him, but Russell Wilson's gone, so that's fine. Bad, do you remember when I was on here telling everybody the most games Denver would lose this year would be 3? Oh, telling everybody. Yeah, I remember that. And I gotta say, good for Denver. I'd like to see them keep that up. I'd like to see them win that division because I absolutely don't like, I was going to call them San Diego, the Chargers, because Harbs is there. So I get it. I want to see, I think their defense is amazing. Troy Franklin, my gosh, Troy Franklin's doing some great things, hooking up with his old quarterback. I like what Denver's doing. My good buddy, if you ever listen to, and please do, the Fans First Football show that we do on our NFL affiliate, my good friend Jonathan Rice, he is a big fan of the Broncos. So, I'd like to see it. I'd like to see them win the division. I don't think they're a Super Bowl team this year, Big E. Don't think they're going, but something crazy happens, they find a way to go home field advantage, then it's all over. New England's scary weird, but it shows what coaching can do. And Drake Maye, that guy's a really good quarterback. I love calling Drake Maye that. Great one. Honestly, Carnell Tate goes 3 hours east on I-70 next year. I would love to see Carnell Tate, a Pittsburgh Steeler, would not have a problem with that. Brian, the Jaguars are not better than the Steelers, please. The Jaguars have a better record than the Steelers. That's what I'm saying. If I said that they were better, I apologize. The record's better. Shane Giggles. I like that. That's a fun name. Shane Giggles. Almost sounds like a porno name. Hey, I'm Shane Giggles. Cincinnati has a chance to win the division because Ravens and Steelers are below average. Our divisional winner might even have a losing record just because. I see that. But when you look at the schedule, even the Steelers schedule, I'm looking at it. I think there's an upset win in there. I think that there is 2 division wins in there, and they have 3 division games left, which means I think they split with the Ravens, and you gotta beat Cleveland. So, when you're looking at something like that, I I'm finding 3 wins right there, and 3 wins are gonna have you at worst 9 and 8. So, this team goes 3 and 3, and, everyone jokes about 9 and 8, but I don't want to root for 9 and 8. I want 11 and 6 at worst, but come on, I know that's not gonna happen. You know, Steel Dog, I had to root for Dallas and Cincy. That was rough, but they pulled through. Yeah, sometimes you gotta make the deal with the devil. You absolutely do. Brian Brown, I will admit, once I realized the Ravens weren't coming back, I didn't hate it. Ray Claudio says, thanks, Bad. Who knows, but I live in Montreal. Maybe someday. If I ever hit Montreal, I would love to go there. I hear that place is wonderful. I love the fact that the Nationals, because I'm not that far away from DC, I love the fact that the Nationals are in Washington, DC. But man, I think Montreal needs the Expos back. And I'm editing. I produce a show for one of our affiliates. It's a great baseball show. If you love baseball memories, check this out. It's my good buddy Frank, and he's got a show called Planes, Trains, Buses, and Ballparks. Wherever you download your favorite podcast, check it out. I've been editing. We had Mike Schmidt on the show last week, and I've been editing a show with current Cincinnati Reds manager Terry Francona. And I looking at all these Montreal Expos pictures, I'm like, those were some great uniforms. They really were. Afton likes the Ravens' chances better than ours. They're weird. There's something not right about that team. And I don't know what it is. I don't. I'm just gonna laugh. Somebody's saying he's bad, shame on, and the whole world had to answer right now just to tell you once again. I love it. Okay, so I was screwing around with Is it GPT? I always say it wrong, and then my son and daughter, they go ahead and tell me I'm wrong. But I'm looking to update my logo soon. And there might be my senior picture from 1988 on Michael Jackson's face. And it might be the Bad album cover. I'm working on that. So you might see that show up as early as this week if I can just go ahead and Jeff and Dave. Well, Jeff approved it. Dave just ignored the message. I love Dave. All right. Ray says, we are an instant gratification society. We lack patience. Of course, yeah. I'm as guilty as anyone. Look at all the new pieces on Steelers D and O. It takes time. Yeah, the problem with that is the revolving quarterback. Are we going to have a new starting quarterback next year too? I'd like to see Aaron Rodgers one more year, but yeah, you don't know. So here we go. Brian says, hopes everybody had a yummy Thanksgiving. And Afton did the cooking and it was as good as her grandma's. That's awesome. That's great. Reggie Rivers. I got to bring up Reggie. Always says the same thing to start his introduction. Bartlett, Tennessee. I heard Bartlett, Tennessee mentioned recently. And I'm like, that's Reginald Rivers. I actually did, and I'm not lying to you on that. There you go. Afton asks, did you ever give the other Harb a nickname to go with Wang Harbs? Yes. It hasn't caught on yet, but at least my son knows to call him Knob Harbs. He is Knob Harbs. We've got Wang and Knob. If you can think of anything better than Knob, let me know. But I would love to do that. Here we go. Yeah, Eric Weidman. Yes, the Lions do look beatable. I I absolutely agree. Last place schedules make a difference. Pats, Bears, and 49ers, says Ray. And yes, he also says bring back the Expos. That would be really cool. Um, you know, that's the thing. Those last place schedules actually they're a big deal. That's one of the reasons we do have parity, and you have teams like the Jaguars, even though they have a third place schedule, and playing better. Steel Dog, is Asante Samuel Jr. going to get snaps in this game? I expect him to get snaps in this game. I would be shocked if he's a healthy scratch. Why would you even bother? Wait, Bad, you've been in contact with Tito, says the great one. I'm a Guardians fan. Tito's the best. I tell you what, probably the nicest guy in the world. I did not host the show. I was just the producer. I was talking to him, and he told me, hey, man, have a happy Thanksgiving. And you can check this show out on YouTube next week or the audio version. Definitely check it out. It is, if you love the sport, it's a great show. A couple weeks ago, we had a guy going into the Clubhouse Manager Hall of Fame from the Oakland A's. It was an amazing show because if you like that sport, that's amazing. I would love to have a clubhouse manager from the NFL. I think that would be absolutely amazing. And this host, Frank, he was the Phillies clubhouse manager, has World Series rings, and he knows everybody. Like I said, I was on with Mike Schmidt. I mean, I had his email, and I'm emailing him and trying to get him set up just a week ago. And I called my dad. I said, I never thought I'd be doing this. And I found a way Mike's a stoic guy. I found a way to make him laugh. And so I was happy. I'm like, I actually made Mike laugh. And my buddy said, yeah, that's a hard thing to do. Matt Cat says shroom harbs. Everybody wang harbs tonight. We've got one of those. Yeah, Brian, they really do. The Steelers really do need to keep a spy so Josh Allen can't run on pass downs. I'm telling you, I think that needs to be Peyton Wilson. I definitely think that needs to be the guy. And he's got to be a full-time guy here. The problem is that means what do you do with Malik Harrison? Malik Harrison needs to be on the field too. The only problem is what defenses are doing right now. They're saying, oh, Malik's in, we're going to run at him. Malik's in, we're passing. The Bears did a great job of crossing everybody up. Drove me absolutely nuts. I just realized I had a marker on my desk. I left the cap off. Well, that one's gone. I like these Amazon basic markers. If anybody from Amazon's out there, you need to send me some of these because I like to use these for work. But then I leave the cap off, and I'm a train wreck with organization and stuff like that. Can't show you. The floor in the office is messy. So, all right, it's time for me to get on out of here. It looks like no more questions. I've got to thank you. Thanksgiving was the other day, and I'm thankful that I have been doing this podcast-wise since 2015 with the same cast of characters. And I got to tell you, it definitely means a lot to me that you're tuning in. There's people, and you know who you are, that as soon as you get that alert, you come in. And you're here for us on these live shows. Be for us. Definitely be for us on the audio side too. It's very important. There's some shows that you don't get here. Get alerts on those too. They're really good. All right, it's time for me to get on out of here. Thank you so much for hanging out with me tonight. I'm going to do this again next week too, as well. Not sure when Jeremy's coming back, but I'm going to keep the seat warm for him. I'm telling you what, I love I love listening to him on this show, watching him. He's such a consummate professional. And I remember when we gave him his first opportunity, and my gosh, we're all like this. We all listen to our first shows and then come back and listen to us now, and we're like, whoa, why did they keep us on here? But man, Jeremy has been good since the beginning. All right, I love it. Saturday Night Live. I'm gonna keep that. Afton, you'll get some. If you come up with a T-shirt, we might have to make that. All right, it's time for me to get on out of here. I love you all. Thank you. My name is Bryan Anthony Davis. I'm going to dust off an old favorite since I'm doing the Q&A. And shout out to my good friend Tony Defio, because we created this together since we like wrestling. Just when you think that you've got all the answers, we keep changing the questions. Good night.